The diplomatic hall of the Valkyrian mothership gleamed with bioluminescent panels, casting an ethereal glow across the assembled dignitaries. Captain Mara Holt stood at attention, her dress uniform crisp despite the 3-day journey through hyperspace. She was here as part of Earth's first official delegation to the Valkyrian Empire, a civilization that had mastered interstellar travel while humans were still figuring out bronze. Prince Kael'rith entered the chamber with the casual arrogance of someone who had never been told no in his entire life. His iridescent scales caught the light, shifting between deep purple and midnight blue. Behind him on a thick crystalline chain stalked his pride and joy, a Valkyrian thornwing, what humans had taken to calling a dragon for lack of a better term. The creature was magnificent and terrifying in equal measure, twice the size of an earth lion with scales like obsidian glass and eyes that burned with predatory intelligence. Its breath came in superheated huffs that distorted the air. "So these are the primitives from the Sol system," Prince Kael'rith announced, his translator rendering his words in perfect condescending English. "How quaint." Ambassador Chen stepped forward with practiced diplomacy. "Your Highness, we are honored." Yes, honored, grateful, humbled." The prince waved a clawed hand dismissively. "Do any of you actually do anything interesting, or do you simply talk?" Mara's jaw tightened, but she remained silent. This was Chen's show. "Perhaps a demonstration would interest your Highness," Chen offered carefully. "Captain Holt here is one of our finest. A demonstration?" The prince's eyes lit up with cruel amusement. "Excellent. Let's see how your finest handles a real predator." He gestured lazily, and the Thornwing's handler released several links of the chain. The dragon surged forward faster than Mara expected. She had studied the footage, read the briefings, but nothing prepared her for the raw speed and power of the creature. It was on her in seconds, jaws snapping. Mara rolled, her hand instinctively going for the sidearm that protocol had forbidden her to wear. The Thornwing's tail whipped around, catching her across the ribs and sending her sprawling. She felt teeth sink into her shoulder, razor sharp and burning hot. "Enough!" Chen's voice cracked across the chamber. The handlers hauled the beast back, and Mara struggled to her feet, blood streaming down her arm. The dragon's venom was already working its way through her system. Not lethal to humans, the briefings had said, but extraordinarily painful. Prince Kael'rith approached, examining the deep gouges across her shoulder and arm. Then he laughed, a crystalline sound that echoed through the hall. "Look at the scars it will leave," he said, tracing a claw near the wounds without touching them. "How hideous. You humans are so fragile, so easily broken. These marks will follow you forever, primitive." His smile was razor-sharp, a permanent reminder of your place in the universe. Mara met his eyes, her vision swimming with pain, and said nothing. The days that followed were a blur of medical treatment and shame. The Valkyrian doctors were efficient, but they couldn't prevent the scars from forming, thick rope-like tissue that twisted from her shoulder to her elbow. They looked worse than they felt, but Mara caught herself covering them, hiding them. The diplomatic mission continued, though the atmosphere had soured considerably. Prince Kael'rith seemed to take particular pleasure in having Mara present at functions, making casual comments about the marked one or the scarred primitive. It was on the 5th day that everything changed. A containment breach in the royal menagerie sent the ship into lockdown. 3 Thornwings, larger and wilder than the prince's pet, had escaped and were rampaging through the residential sections. The Valkyrian guards, trained for ceremony rather than combat, were being torn apart. Mara was in her quarters when the alarm sounded. She didn't hesitate, didn't wait for orders. She grabbed the emergency cutting torch from the wall panel and ran toward the screaming. The first Thornwing she encountered was cornering a group of Valkyrian civilians, younglings by the look of them. The creature's attention was fixed on them, its haunches tensed for the killing strike. Mara didn't think. She charged, activating the cutting torch and driving it into the dragon's flank. The beast roared, spinning with impossible speed, but Mara had already dropped and rolled. She came up underneath it, torch blazing, and carved a burning line across its exposed belly. The Thornwing retreated, and Mara positioned herself between it and the civilians. "Go," she shouted. "Run!" The dragon circled, intelligent eyes sizing her up. Then it lunged. What followed was a brutal, desperate dance. Mara used every dirty trick she'd learned in Earth's military, every lesson from fighting in close quarters where hesitation meant death. The cutting torch became an extension of her arm, blocking, striking, searing. When the second Thornwing arrived, Mara felt her heart sink. But then she saw movement. The Velcarian civilians hadn't run. They'd grabbed whatever they could find and come back. Together, they drove the beasts back inch by bloody inch. By the time security arrived, both Thornwings were subdued, and Mara was on her knees, her improvised weapon dead in her hand. New scars joined the old ones. Prince Kael'rith found her in the medical bay hours later. He stood in the doorway, uncharacteristically silent, watching as the doctors worked on her latest wounds. "The younglings you saved," he finally said, his voice stripped of its usual mockery. "One of them was my sister's child." Mara looked up at him, too tired for diplomacy. "Good." He approached slowly, studying her scarred arms with different eyes. "I called these marks hideous, called them signs of weakness." He was quiet for a moment. "Among my people, we use biotechnology to erase such imperfections. We pride ourselves on our flawlessness." "Must be nice," Mara said flatly. "I have no scars," Kael'rith continued, almost to himself. "No marks of battle, no proof of sacrifice. I am, as we say, unblemished." He met her eyes. "I thought that made me superior. But you? Your scars are not weaknesses, are they? They are records, proof of survival, evidence of will." Mara flexed her newly bandaged arm. "They're reminders that I fought, that I didn't quit, that I'm still here." The prince bowed, actually bowed. "I mocked you for being marked by my beast, but you returned to face worse, to save those who could not save themselves. You are not primitive, Captain Mara Holt. You are not weak." He straightened, and there was something like respect in his alien eyes. "You are exactly what your species claims to be. You are human." As he left, Mara looked down at her scars, old and new, angry and fading. She thought about covering them, about finding a way to erase them. Then she smiled, tired but genuine, and decided against it. Some things were worth remembering.